So the baby hippo won. Maybe for our next election, we should have zoo animals do our predictions for us. Now, all jokes aside, why did Trump win the 2024 election? Well, when it comes to who voted for the guy, there isn't really much of a shock as to why he won. Trump had a solid lead among white people, specifically with white men. These white men tended to be in the 30 to 65-year age group. Support for Trump was also strongest among people who have never attended college versus people with the highest levels of education. Of course, even when it comes to education, race still matters, with white college graduates only having a small Democratic advantage in comparison to non-white college graduates. When you look at income, among the poorest and richest income brackets, they both have a favorability towards Democrats. While if you were to look at the income brackets between $30,000 to just under $100,000, it goes for Trump. For the Protestants and born-again Christians, it's no surprise that they support Trump with large margins. Although when it comes to religion, race also impacts the support of religious people's support for Trump, with being white making you more likely to support Donald Trump, even though religious blacks also supported Trump with a large margin. And married men and vets also pulled for Trump as well. And a little bit of a twist, first-time voters pulled a bit more for Trump, which shows that getting out your base to vote was important for the victory in this election. And surprise, surprise, the people who don't think that the country is headed in the right direction or who disapprove of President Biden's job as president voted for Trump by large margins. So as far as demographics go, once again, nothing really changed as to who voted for Trump. So why did Kamala lose? Beforehand, if you were to read the predictions for the elections, there are a wide variety of reasons as to why people thought that Kamala might lose, ranging from inflation to Biden's continuing support of Israel. However, with the election exit polls that have came out just recently under the Edison polling company in conjunction with ABC and NBC News, there are actually only a few reasons as to why Trump won the election. So the first one is voters believing that democracy is under threat. And for that, most of the time, for people who believe democracy is under threat, they would pull for Kamala. But in this case, considering that you would go to the swing states, and for the top issues, most people would say that democracy under threat is the top issue. You would think they would go for Kamala, but they don't. They go for Trump. This holds true, though, even if people in their states believe that their elections are run fairly. More on that later. The second one, which turned out to be also very important, is the belief of whether or not your family is better off financially than you were 4 years ago. So basically, the economy. Now, to explain this deeper, let's look at the results of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, which ultimately cost Kamala the election. In Pennsylvania, 33% said that the threat to democracy is their top issue, with 30% saying the economy was. In Michigan, 35% said the defense of democracy was their top issue, in comparison to less than 25% who said that the economy is the most important. 35% in Wisconsin voters said that the economy is their top issue, in contrast to Michigan and Pennsylvania. But a close 33% said that threat to democracy was. On the whole, 72% of Wisconsin voters said that democracy was under threat. However, 80% of Wisconsin voters, as I said before, say that their state conducts elections fairly. Now, NBC didn't publish the statistics for Pennsylvania and Wisconsin as to how much they believe their democracy under threat, but I believe that they trusted their elections as well. So, odd things though, in terms of this election. Other issues like abortion, immigration, and Israel did not determine the outcome of the election, even if they were important to voters, like in the case of abortion and immigration. Now, with abortion, oftentimes it wasn't polled as the top reason. However, in states where most people supported abortion, they still didn't poll for Kamala. And it seems to be that's because they're completely satisfied with the status quo. In the case of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, they already have abortion codified into their law. And so it seems to be that people think that their abortion rights in their states are protected, and that's why they do not vote for Kamala over Trump in that issue. Now, with immigration, most people seem to want to give illegal immigrants the chance to become American citizens, but for that, it doesn't seem to be as important to them in the swing states as the economy or the threat to democracy. So, domestic issues more important than foreign issues, go figure. With Israel, the nation seems to be split into thirds, with 32% of voters nationwide saying that U.S. support for Israel is too strong, 30% saying that it's not strong enough, and 31% saying that it's about right. Even in Michigan, which has a large Arab population, the results are pretty much the same. Even though personal favorability numbers are low among Trump voters, the belief in his ability to lead and to make change is good in comparison to Kamala, which helped him win the election. Now, so my closing thoughts. There is a sizable portion of the voter population who, when they say that the threat to democracy is the most important issue to them, they probably actually mean Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party as the threat to democracy. There is also the fact that despite the majority of voters approving of abortion, it seems not to have mattered much, both because they wouldn't put it as their top issue, and if they did think that abortion should be legal, they're probably likely to be very secure in their state's ability to secure abortion rights. Trump said that if a national abortion ban passed his desk, he would veto it, and I don't think the Senate will have as large of a majority to pass it. Now, so Trump won due to the midnight hour surge of his base, who cared about the economy and believed that the Democrat Party is a threat to democracy. Overall, the landslide victory is shocking, but the way Trump won and who and what groups he won with were not surprising. And so, with both the Trump presidency and a Republican held Senate, the MAGA bros have really shown that they are still a force in politics that will remain for years to come. The Democrats can freak out about this, but Trump's not going to present a real threat to democracy, I believe, because American institutions are strong. We have many differences between us and Hungary. And we also know what type of man Trump is. So if he does anything sneaky, we could organize protests against him. And so that's my thoughts about the aftermath of the election. Thanks for watching.